Hello guys, Maurice here again, and this will be my first update since I've totally done over my tank and gone fully bare bottom. I want to share with you guys some of the things that I've noticed and some of the reasons why I'm loving this tank so much. Okay guys, so here we go. First thing out, what I like the most about this tank now as opposed to when I was planted is that one, you get a fair idea of how much muck you got. So with this I could see exactly where has poop, where does not, where is clean, if there's any debris around. And that brings me to my second point. Second point why I like bare bottom tanks now as opposed to my planted tank is that the discus they don't lose their food doesn't get stuck in any of the carpeting plants, and they can't get at it. They have their food pretty much on a plate right here in front of them, so they could peck it all up and clean it all up. Now the other point is that the flow from the water pushes all the sediments and everything to one spot right there. So that one spot right there is where I siphon and I pretty much get everything out, because you could see this side is clean, this side's got flow from the filter, the flow from the power head. It pushes everything in a big circle and brings it right back around, right? So that's great. So we have a sterile environment. We know exactly what needs to be cleaned, what can be cleaned, and where it does not need cleaning. Another great advantage with having a tank with that's bare bottom and minimal ornaments is that the fish can't really hide. You see, they're trying to hide here behind this piece of driftwood that I put up. Now I put up this driftwood here because I wanted them to have something to at least try to spawn on. I didn't want them spawn on the glass. Yes, so you can see the fish. The fish are out in the open. It doesn't help them with their skittishness, but it allows me to see them better, so I could identify if there's anybody that's sick, anybody that's not looking well. The poorly lads, they can't hide. In my planter tank, they hid behind the Amazon swords, they hid behind the jungle val, they hid behind anything that grew tall enough, and you really couldn't see them in the back. So this way I get to see my fish, I get to identify quickly who's not well, who's acting strangely, and that's a plus for me, especially keeping discus. Also, I get to inspect their poop. Their poop that's on the bottom of the tank right now. It's all looking brown. You guys can see, healthy color, right? There's no clear poop, no stringy poop, because just in case during the day I may miss them pooping and I don't get to see where or who the poop comes out of, I could still look at the poop and see which one is white, if it's ever white, which one's dark brown, to know what kind of health my fish are in. That's just an indicator as to the health of my fish, but it works for me. Even though I don't see who it comes from, I have an idea of something is wrong and I need to look at my fish a bit more. Yes. Now, apart from all those other points, this tank is very easy to clean. That's another great point for me. Maintenance does not take as long as on a planted tank, where you have to go, you have to prune, you have to siphon out water, you have to look for where poop is or look for where debris is and try and siphon it out as well as you can. You have to try not to suck out your substrate. You can't stick your hose into your sand substrate and get a deep clean. You have to be careful. You don't want to suck your substrate out of the tank, and I don't have that worry with this. With this, it's just a quick in and out with the hose, pick up the debris, and I am done. I wipe down the inside of the glass. That's great. See, there's no algae at the front of the glass. There is algae at the back of the glass, however. I do not scrape that algae off. I use that algae kind of like a scrubber. Once it's on the back glass, it's okay. For me, it helps suck up the nitrates in this tank. So it doesn't bother me too much. Yes. So, as I was saying, I'm just gonna come up here, guys. Filter time. Filter pads are relatively clean every time I do a change, so there's actually not much cleaning. When I had my planter tank, I used to clean those pads twice a week. Twice a week. I'm going into my filter, I am pulling out those pads, and I'm scrubbing them down because they are mucky. And when I say mucky, I don't mean just little brown stuff. I mean like on the verge of being clogged, kind of mucky. Now let's talk about some cons. So far with cons, the major con is that it looks like a bare bottom tank. It does not look pretty. It does not look as attractive as my planted tank. The only item that beautifies the tank are the fishes themselves, and they are pretty fish, but when they face you head on like this, little girl, you don't really get to see the beauty that's on the side of the fish, you know. So that's one con of having a bare bottom tank versus a planted tank. Second con would be lack of I don't want to say filter media, lack of surfaces for beneficial bacteria to grow on, because I have no substrate. I have no stones, I have no gravel, I have no sand. There is less surface area in this tank for beneficial bacteria to grow on. So I have beneficial bacteria growing on that sponge that's attached to the power head and what's inside my filter. Okay, so that's one con. Less beneficial bacteria in the tank. So that means if current goes, I don't have plants to act as natural filters for this tank either. So I'm not sure if that falls under the same category as less beneficial bacteria. But another con is that there are no natural filtration going on in this tank. Everything is in the filters. Alright, so if we have everything in the filters, if current goes, that's an issue. Hopefully I'm here. Hopefully I can pull out my battery powered air pump in time, you know. So if I'm at work, that's a different story. I've had friends who came home and found all their fish dead. Alright, but as far as cons, those are all of it. That's all I could sum up right now. So that will be where I cut off on this video. We went through pros, we went through cons of bare bottom tanks, and I hope I helped somebody make a decision. Okay, I do all my videos for that, to help people make decisions, to help people in the hobby. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. I'm Maurice from Maurice Aquariums, and I'm out.